At the beginning of the story, we meet an American boy named Richard who enjoys visiting adventurous places. That's why he's come to Thailand for his holidays, staying at the G Hotel. There, he meets a French girl named Françoise, who is visiting with her boyfriend. Later, Richard goes to his room to rest. Suddenly, a man opens his window and asks for a cigarette. They start talking, and he introduces himself as Daffy. He tells him, "If you're really looking for an adventure, I'll tell you about a beach that's incredibly beautiful, surrounded by other beaches and high cliffs. It looks like paradise. But getting there is nearly impossible because no one knows about it." Richard doesn't take his words too seriously. But the next morning, when he wakes up, he finds a map taped to his door. It's the same island Daffy told him about. Curious, Richard goes to Daffy's room but finds him dead. He has committed suicide. When the police arrive, they question Richard briefly and then release him. Later, Richard meets Françoise and her boyfriend Etienne. He shows them the map and says, "If you want to enjoy life, come with me. I'll take you to an island where the water is crystal blue and the sand is pure white." Intrigued, they agree to join him. The three of them set off toward the secret beach, traveling about 500 kilometers. After a 24-hour journey, they reach a beach where they plan to start the next leg of their trip by boat. They spend the night there. That evening, Richard meets two other travelers who are also curious about the island. They mention the map, but admit they don't know how to reach the secret location. The next morning, before leaving, Richard makes a copy of the map and leaves it outside their door, just in case something goes wrong and someone needs to know where they went. After several hours on the boat, they're dropped off at another beach because no boat can reach the actual island. They decide to stay the night and continue on foot the next day. That night, Françoise takes photos of the starry sky with her camera. The next morning, they spot the island about a kilometer away and begin swimming toward it. When they arrive, they're shocked to find large cannabis plantations used for drug production. Richard spots a man with a weapon and a pet monkey. The monkey sees them and tries to alert his master, but before he does, Richard and the others hide in the cannabis fields. It turns out the people living here are farmers growing cannabis illegally, and no one is allowed on the island without permission. The armed men start searching for intruders. Luckily, Richard and his friends manage to escape and move further into the jungle. Eventually, they reach a tall waterfall with no way forward or back, just a drop ahead and danger behind. Faced with no option, they decide to jump, believing it's better to risk their lives in the water than to be caught. As they leap, a man watches and claps, impressed by their bravery. He introduces himself as Kitty, a fellow traveler. Kitty leads them to a hidden settlement on the island, where travelers from different countries have been living for years. The place is led by a woman named Sal. Sal questions Richard about how he found the island. Richard shows him the map he got from Daffy. Sal tells him that Daffy was once their friend and one of the original settlers of the island. No one knows why he left. Sal asks if Richard told anyone else about the map. Richard lies and says no. Sal gives him back the map and tells him to keep the island a secret. The next morning, everyone goes to the beach, and it's just as breathtaking as Daffy described. The water is crystal blue, the sand is white, and the cliffs tower over them. It truly looks like paradise. Everyone enjoys the beach, plays games, and has fun. Richard, Françoise, and Etienne finally get to experience the dream adventure they had hoped for. They welcome Françoise into their group and give her a tattoo, an identity mark shared by all who live on the island. She explains, "We live here like our ancestors used to, not to work, but to live. Sometimes we go to the city to buy essentials and sell drugs, but that's it. No one has a problem with us being here, but we don't want any more tourists coming." One night, while walking on the beach, Françoise tells Richard, "I love you, but I can't be with you. I'm with Etienne." The truth is, Richard had feelings for her and had tried to get close to her many times. Eventually, their bond grew stronger and they became intimate. Over time, Etienne and the others found out about their relationship. Etienne was furious at first, but later told Richard, "If Françoise is happy with you, I'm okay with it." One day, it starts raining heavily, making it difficult to catch fishes. Everyone waits on the beach, hoping the rain will stop, otherwise they'll have to sleep hungry. But Richard doesn't wait. He walks into the sea to try and catch fish. Others call him back, but the rain is so heavy he doesn't hear them. Suddenly, a shark appears and charges toward him. Richard panics and tries to escape, but the shark gets too close. In self-defense, he attacks the shark with a knife several times and manages to kill it. This act of bravery makes him a hero in the eyes of the community. Everyone praises his courage. The next day, the group notices their rice sacks are infested with insects. Sal tells Richard that they need to go to the city to get supplies and chooses him to accompany her. Everyone gives Richard their lists. Sal and Richard reach the city and buy everything they need. While sitting at a bar, two boys approach Sal. the same boys to whom Richard had given the map earlier. Now, they want Sal to take them to the island. But Richard, wanting to keep the place secret, lies and says, "There's no such island. I made it up." Sal overhears and realizes Richard lied to her as well. She asks if he gave them a map. Richard lies again and says no. Sal says, "Don't worry." That night, Sal and Richard sleep together. The next morning, they load the supplies into a boat and return to the island. Richard distributes everything, and the group is thrilled. However, Francoise looks sad. When Richard asks her why, she says, "Everyone's saying Sal likes you." Richard reassures her, "That's not true. We're just friends." Later, they enjoy themselves on the beach, and Francoise takes a group photo of everyone. One day, while some group members are catching fish on the beach, a shark attacks them. One of them is killed instantly, and another member is seriously injured. He needs medical help urgently, but they can't risk exposing the island. Sal says, "If we call a doctor, our secret will be out. Either go to the hospital or stay here and wait for him to die." The injured man, Kristen, suffers for days. Eventually, the group decides to abandon him in the jungle. Etienne pleads with them not to do this, but no one listens. He chooses to stay with Kristen. After this, life on the island returns to normal, and everyone starts enjoying themselves again. One day, while relaxing, Sal calls Richard and shows him through binoculars that the tourists from the bar have arrived. They have a copy of the map. Sal is furious. She knows Richard gave them the map. She tells him, "You're not going anywhere until you get that map back and send them away. If you try anything, I'll kill you and lie to everyone." That night, Richard sits alone when Francoise comes to him. Francoise slaps Richard after Sal reveals she slept with him. Heartbroken, she breaks up with Richard and leaves. Now, Richard is completely alone. He doesn't know how to stop the new tourists from reaching the island. He waits for them to arrive. One day, he sees them finally reach the island, completely unaware of the danger. As soon as they set foot on the island, they are confronted by the armed residents. When the tourists arrive and are confronted, panic spreads. Everyone watches in shock, and the atmosphere of joy disappears. As the tourists try to run, both of them are shot, and all the newcomers are killed. Seeing this, Richard is horrified. Before he can escape, one of the armed farmers chases him. Luckily, the farmer steps into a trap Richard had previously set and gets injured. Richard escapes and runs back to the community. But the others are still busy celebrating. Only Etienne is sitting quietly near Kristen, waiting for Richard. Richard tells him, "We've messed everything up. The tourists we gave the map to are dead. Their people will probably come looking for them. We need to run." Etienne, however, doesn't want to leave. Richard says, "I'll take care of Kristen. You two wait for me at the boat." Then Etienne and Francoise leave. Richard goes to Kristen and suffocates him to death, something he never wanted to do, but saw no other option. Just then, the farmers arrive and capture Richard before he can escape. When he regains consciousness, he sees that Francoise and Etienne have also been captured, along with the rest of the group. The gang's leader is furious about the arrival of the new tourists. He says to Sal, "I warned you, no more tourists. But now, thanks to that map, more people came. So you all must leave this island." But no one wants to leave. Sal refuses, saying, "This island is our home." She then exposes Richard, saying he was the one who gave the map to the outsiders. Gang leader steps forward and confronts Sal. He says, "You can stay here, but you have to kill Richard in front of everyone." He hands her a gun and forces her to shoot. Although many in the group don't want Sal to kill Richard, she ignores them and presses the trigger anyway. But there is no bullet inside the gun. That moment changes everything. Her actions terrify the group and break their trust in her. As a result, everyone decides to leave the island. Sal is left all alone. Some time later, we see Richard has returned to his normal life and is working again. But he still remembers the days he spent on that secret beach. One day, he checks his email and finds a message from Francoise. Attached are the pictures they all took together on the beach. And with that, the story ends. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.